Welcome, rugby fans, to Rugby 411. I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is another fun little video. Again, shout out to USA Rugby League fan for the suggestion with Major League Rugby going into their fifth season with a new expansion team, the Dallas Jackals. Last year, the expansion team, the LA Guiltinis, uh, MLR champions, LA Guiltinis. Um, Major League Rugby is expanding, and recently the commissioner George Killebrew was mentioning that that is the goal for Major League Rugby is to expand with new teams every couple of years. And now there has been news that a trademark and a logo for a franchise called the St. Louis Knights has popped up for rugby. Putting up the logo right now. Boom. Um, I'll make a comment about the logo in just a second, but so that the logo and the trademark is kind of interesting because George Killebrew did mention that there's a possibility of a Chicago team coming into MLR in 2023. So with St. Louis being very close to Chicago, this team might be it. Um, Bringing the logo back up. You know, I don't mind the logo. It's interesting, though it does have a lot of similarities to this logo, which, if you're a hockey fan, it's the Las Vegas Knights. So, I don't know. Again, not necessarily that's going to be the final logo for the St. Louis Knights. But again, very excited that we will have a new franchise in St. Louis. Obviously, that's going to be a Eastern team to kind of even out the West and the East. Right now, the West with the added Dallas Jackals has 7 teams. East has 7. So the question that's being brought up now is where should the next Major League Rugby team be? Obviously, I feel the expansion should go into and coincide with major media markets in America. I mean, you already have now the LA Guiltinis. You have several teams in Texas with Austin and Dallas and the Houston SaberCats. And of course, you have Rooney Rugby New York. I think the only logical choice would obviously be in Florida, where you have Orlando, Miami, Jacksonville, all cities that are very much sports towns. You know, you have pro baseball, you have pro football, you have pro basketball teams, hockey teams over there. I think rugby would be a perfect fit as well. Plus the weather over there, granted it can get a little humid, but it's perfect rugby weather. So I think Florida would be a very logical choice for an expansion team, for the next expansion team. And then just to even it out, we have an Eastern team with Florida, the West, and I know this might be a little controversial because it seems like there's a weird relationship with rugby and Las Vegas, but I really feel MLR should have a Vegas team. Now, again, if you follow rugby, there used to be Rugby Sevens competition in Vegas that unfortunately or fortunately has moved to LA. I say fortunately because it's better for me. Vegas is still pretty close, but it's better for me for LA. But oddly enough, the Sevens tournament has moved from Vegas to LA. And with the recent cancellation of the Vegas Cup, which was supposed to be Team America versus Ireland, which I had tickets for and kind of sucks. But and there's a lot of rumors of why. The official reason is COVID related. But there just seems like there's something going on between Vegas and rugby, which is weird because Vegas is very much a sports town. I mean, I have a very strong relationship with Vegas. It's one of my favorite places to go. I go there for work-related reasons and for pleasure almost every other month. And let me tell you, I got a lot of friends that live in Vegas. When the Vegas Knights first popped up, everyone was a Vegas Knights fan in Vegas. Like, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing at least a dozen jerseys. I mean, they had, at the Circus Casino, they have this fake Statue of Liberty. They had a Vegas Knights jersey wrapped around that. I mean, they love still the Vegas Knights. And I mean, it helps that the Vegas Knights start off really, really well and everybody loves a winner. But that city has a adopted the Vegas Knights. You also look at the Raiders now in Vegas. There are so many Raider fans in Vegas. So Vegas has proven they can be a sports town. There's a reason now why they're trying to get a baseball franchise going. There's a lot of rumors that Oakland A's are going to move over to Vegas. They've been trying so hard to get a basketball franchise over there. Who knows if they need one because they do so well with March Madness. But they are a sports town, and a rugby team in Vegas is perfect. So I feel that should be a logical spot for MLR, but we'll see. And again, it evens out with the East from Florida, the West Vegas. There's been other rumors that Hawaii was at one time a possible place, but unfortunately during the offseason, the agreement kind of fell through. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm kind of happy that the Hawaii one did not happen. As much as it would be great for a Hawaii franchise with the MLR because you have access to Samoan players, Fijian players, Tongan players, all the island players, especially now with Super Rugby Pacific popping up, and you have the Pacific Moanas and the Fijian Druins. I mean, you have access to a lot of great talent for that Hawaii team. Being a USC alum, very familiar with Pac-12 competitions and all sports, a lot of Pac-12 teams played against the University of Hawaii. Granted, it's a great destination to go for football games, for anything, but travel there, logistics-wise, was such a nightmare. So many times, especially with football, any team that played in college football in Hawaii, you would have to have almost an automatic week off afterwards because just travel was so bad. So I just feel, especially when you have teams like New York, Toronto, New Orleans, going over to Hawaii, that's a brutal trip. Now, granted, it's no better with LA going over to New York going over to LA, or LA going over to Toronto. Thank God that the game this year versus Toronto is in Vancouver, which is a much closer trip. But I just feel that Hawaii, logistically, would have been very, very tough. But who's to say? I mean, it might be cool in the future to have a Hawaii franchise because of the accessibility to so much talent over there. There's also been rumors of a possible Mexico team. The Mexican Rugby Federation, it was supposedly in talks with the MLR. We already have one with the Canadian National Rugby League with the Toronto Arrows. Who's to say we can't have a Mexican representative as well? I feel that ultimately is what the MLR wants to do, is they want to help promote not only rugby in America, but international play as well. You know, there's a lot of leagues around the world that does these annual competitions between different countries. You have the Six Nations in Europe. You have the rugby championship in the Southern Hemisphere with Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and Argentina. There was at one time an America's Cup. I don't know if we'll get back to that because of COVID, but that was with Canada and America, Uruguay, I believe, and the Argentinian 15 team, which is kind of the secondary team to the Argentinian national team. That competition, I feel, is a must-have to, again, better prepare American players with the better quality, and we have to be honest about this, the better quality of play internationally. Now, granted, you know, Mexico may not necessarily be better than America, but it would also help Mexico to up their game to be able to put a team together to compete with America, and they'll just get better. You know, it's all about competition, guys. It's all about getting everybody to do better if everybody gets to play with everybody. So having a team from Mexico would actually be a pretty cool thing. So that is also a rumor of a team possibly for the MLR. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see, and it's great to hear that the MLR is expanding. Obviously, expansion means good news that there's productivity in the league. Obviously, we have to be careful about over expanding, you know, but I feel that, you know, with what we're going, Major League Rugby is going to be a huge sport in America, and Major League Rugby is going to be the forefront of that. So I'm just excited to see future places where Major League Rugby may pop up with a franchise team. So again, just curious to see for some of you fans, where would you like to see a Major League Rugby team pop up anywhere near you? Don't be shy if there's already a team in your area, but not exactly in your city. Like I'm, technically there could be a dozen teams in Texas. There was a team in Colorado. Unfortunately, the Raptors they were defunct, and but who's to say that we might not have another Colorado team? So don't be afraid to throw out suggestions of where you would want to see a Major League Rugby team. There's 32 teams in the National Football League. We only have right now 13 in Major League Rugby. Who's to say we can't expand to close to that number? So let me know in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, thank you for checking it out.